Ahoy, shipmates! Day 9 of the transatlantic adventure on the brand new Norwegian Aqua. We are sailing transatlantic from the port of Southampton to New York. It was supposed to be Boston, but bad weather meant we had to sail further south. And we are further south at the moment, and as you can see, it has started off a absolutely glorious day. I think this is the best morning so far on the cruise. It's actually quite warm and the blue skies. Of course, the first thing the captain does is to check the navigation. As you can see, we've headed across the Atlantic. We're pretty much due north of Bermuda. We've made one slight turn to the right, and we're about to make another turn to the right soon. Current speed is around 13 knots, and the wind is now coming from the starboard side. Well, one of the shipmates pointed out from my last little film, they said that the carpet in the passageways has arrows on it which point to the front of the ship. And do you know what? They actually do. I never knew that. Thanks for that, shipmates. I forget who exactly that was, but you're absolutely right. They all point to the bow. Managed to hack the menu this morning, ordered poached eggs on the side, and they smoked salmon bagel, so I'm actually getting my eggs royale. There was a cooking demonstration, which seemed to involve pouring lots of vodka onto a cake, some sort of cake making thing. It was all reminded me very much of Larry Grayson's Generation game. There was an awful lot of audience interaction, and as you can see, cake splatting on the face. A little bit silly if you ask me. Most of the crowd seemed to enjoy it. That's the chief chef, by the way, there in blue. He was quite an entertaining chap. Then went on to a lecture about the Statue of Liberty, which I thought was quite appropriate as we're going to New York. This chap initially reminded me of David Sedaris, but it wasn't quite as funny.
The statue is actually called Liberty Enlightening the World. And so that torch up there is the torch of liberty. It was not about receiving people, it was about sending out the ideas of our Constitution and liberty. So the second one here is that the reason for the Statue of Liberty was to celebrate the victory of the North in the Civil War and the end of slavery in the United States, finally making it a country where everyone has justice and liberty. And so it was not originally about immigrants at all. So the whole purpose of the Statue of Liberty has changed over time. And you can see he has put two central columns down the middle, and these will be braced, and that will have a staircase around it, later an elevator up. And then you can see that he has all out to the clothing, I guess, all of the structure built in such a way that it will maintain the integrity of the statue, but allow it to move very slightly in the wind so that it doesn't crack. So
after all that, as the weather was looking pretty good on this fine day, popped down to the local bar and grill. Thought I'd try the lunch options down here. Now these were some pretzel bites. I thought they were ideal for a sort of local bar and grill. Very good bread, really tastes like American pretzels. Lovely and salty as well, with a little cheese dip. I think could have done with more cheese and different cheese dips, I think. Oh, that very good. Also had some barbecue wings as well. Americans can do very good wings. Another shipmate asked about fish and chips, so I thought I'd show you the fish and chips. You get two little portions of fish and a plate of chips. Not really my personal taste, those chips. The fish was decent though. Very light batter. Plenty of fish. That worked out rather well. Certainly enjoyed that. Had that with an IPA, actually also available from the same bar. Went up to my next location to practice my darts. The Bullseye Bar at the very top of the ship. It's also got a fantastic view. And it's also not very busy. It ticks a lot of boxes, the Bullseye Bar. The staff there very attentive. They know what you want to drink very quickly. Later in the day, went to this Swirl Bar. Now this is a wine tasting bar behind the whiskey bar. I think it's a little secret location, unknown. Not many people seem to know about it. It's never very busy, So there was some good conversation down there. Plus, plenty of good wines to taste. I've been told that in the next 3 or 4 months, it will be turning into a virtual reality wine tasting bar, where you'll be immersed in the vineyard or where the wine comes from while you're tasting it. Although when you're wearing a headset, I'm not exactly sure how you're not going to be knocking over all those wine glasses, but the attendant Bernard there assured me that they were thinking about how to deal with that. Yeah, sometimes I cook with wine. A really funky little space, sort of cross between some sort of futuristic bar on a spaceship, is what it reminds me of. And there's a little iPad that lists all the wines. There's a whole variety of wines included with your More at Sea package, but also there are quite a few that you can buy by the glass. Just flick through this menu here. You can select country, filter by country, or colour of wine, or by glass, or by the More at Sea package. It's quite good. It's a way of looking for it. Whites, reds, pinks, even some sparkling wines. Although I noticed nothing from the British Isles. Considering the British Isles has some of the best sparkling wine in the world, I think that's a missed opportunity there. Went with a sherry and a port. A bit of a change. Also, this was the warm-up to this evening's meal, which was the specialty restaurant. Final and last specialty restaurant, the Bistro, which is a French-inspired restaurant. I had to get in before they actually started service. I thought I'd show you around. Come in here, you've got all your wines on display. There's a little check-in desk there where they'll see if they've got a space for you. You have to make a reservation in advance. There you go, this is the Bistro. You're greeted by this massive chandelier, which goes all the way from the ceiling to the floor. At least I suppose that stops it wobbling around, doesn't it? There's a whole load of tables and chairs. It does remind me somewhat of a French bistro in a upmarket Provençal mansion house somewhere. Number of tables laid out in 4s, 5s, even 2s as well. Had a rather good extensive menu. Number of starters, appetizers. They were also quite keen on pushing the featured champagne, which was a French muck. And they had no English sparkling. I declined the offer of paying for Veuve Clicquot. A whole range of starters. And a whole range of main courses as well. Fairly standard dishes, really. Coq au fan. Filet de boeuf. Started off with steak tartare, which was pretty good. No egg on that one though. Really elegant design in the bistro. The ceilings, can't really see it, but it's quite intricate, and the ventilation is incorporated into the ceiling, so there's no ugly ventilation ducts anywhere. It's all incorporated into the ceiling. Very smart. And this lovely chandelier here, which, if you can notice, but there is one lamp. It's slightly the wrong colour. It's a little disturbing. I went with the lamb chop. It was cooked absolutely perfectly. Haven't had a lamb chop in ages. Also came with what appeared to be 2 French fries. The dessert was a pear-orientated chocolate dessert. The waiter came along and poured chocolate all over the top of it and sort of melted the disc that's around the centre of it. It was all very complicated and very tasty indeed. Well, I've enjoyed that with Shipmates. It's been a lovely day and only one more full day left at sea. Until next time, Shipmates.